So, it's one thing I didn't tell y'all. A so-called friend, I can't believe I had to put so-called in front of the word friend. Man, y'all just don't know. But an individual that I truly have considered to be a family member, who was a friend. When I made my very first Cassie and Diddy video, it's the one with the turkeys in the thumbnail, and I called them two jive turkeys. Well, my friend, whom I considered as family, did not agree with me in that video. She told me I should know better, that I work with, people who've been abused and molested and raped, which I do, and I should know better. I understand the grooming process. How can you stand by? You saw the video, how he beat her ass, so on and so forth. Maybe because of my experience working with true victims, maybe because of my experience of working with people who've been molested and all types of abuse, maybe because of that, I'm able to point out true blue victims, and I know bullshit when it's bullshit. Could that be it? When Cassie was a victim, in my opinion now, Cassie was the victim that very first time Puffy beat her ass. If she stood around for more ass whoopings and pissing in the mouth, that's on her. So the defense, they exposed her not only as not being a victim, they exposed that chick as being a straight up hoe. Oh yeah. Here's the other argument. She was 19 when she got with Puffy. You need to understand she was 19 and dating Ryan Leslie, who was 10 years older than her at the time. And I think they were together for about 3 years or so. Mm-hmm. And while she was with Ryan Leslie, she left and Ryan Leslie introduced her to Puffy. She left Ryan Leslie for Puffy. And while she's with Puffy, who hired Kid Cudi to come in and do some studio work or whatever the case is, she starts messing with Kid Cudi. Got the man's car blown to smithereens. And at some point, Puffy hires Cassie a personal trainer. That's the guy who she is married to today. See, in the last video, I talked about what her boundaries were. That she had none, except for one. And you know what her only boundary was in this relationship? When she realized, after 10 years, that she was never going to be Puffy's wife, she was never going to have a baby by him. When she realized that that was her boundary, that's when she decided to leave. And when she decided to leave, she really left, didn't she? All the other times she tried to get away and tried to leave, she runs back to the apartment that he's paying for. So the defense exposed Cassie in court with her own words. Plenty of times she's initiating freak off sessions. Oh, how she can't wait to be with her legs cocked behind her head, getting all this good black dingling. There were some things she wrote to Puffy concerning her participation in freak offs that they didn't even want her to read aloud in court because it was just that damn bad. I heard, well, let me get back to that. What was another thing? Oh, at this point, she's dating the trainer. What is his name? Alex Fine. That's her husband. But when she was dating him, she stated that Puffy came over and raped her on the living room floor. Yeah, that's what she said. And then 2 weeks after that, she met up with Puffy again and they made love. Who does that? Well, somebody said Alex Fine, her current husband, was sitting in the court turning beet red. And I'm thinking that he has gone by her narrative that she was a victim on in all of this. Because, you know, when the prosecutors were asking her questions, she said she never wanted to freak off. She didn't want none of that. And then here come the defense with her own words how much she wanted to freak off with Puffy. But anyway, they said Alex, I think her husband, you know, all these years, he saved her. You know, he thought she was a victim. I think he heard her read her own text messages about her participation in freak offs and loving them. I think he heard that for the first time like the rest of us. I think he found out right along with the rest of us, well, it was just confirmed for me, that she was a hoe. I don't see them remaining in the marriage too much longer. Especially when the defense gets to text messages from 2022. That's a year before she filed that lawsuit against Puffy. Her and Puffy are texting each other, and get this. Puffy says, I want to have a freak off with you for just one last time. Mind you, she's married to Alex Fine, the trainer. Puffy's texting her, I want to have a last freak off with you for the last time. Guess what her response was? A freak off for the last time? I want to have a freak off like it's the first time for the rest of my life. This was in 2022, a year before she filed that lawsuit against Puffy? And it's 2025, about 3 years ago. And she's a victim and she never wanted a freak off, huh? These are her words, not mine. I'm sure Alex Fine, her husband, did not know that Puffy texted her talking about, I want to have a freak off with you for the last time. And I damn sure know he had no clue that she responded, freak off for the last time. I want to have a freak off like it's the first time for the rest of my life. That was 3 years ago. So the defense pointed out, I believe it was 3 years ago in 2022, Cassie and her husband and their 2 kids moved from LA to Connecticut to her mama's house. So here you are with your husband and your 2 kids living with your mama and your daddy. That means basically you was broke. And then comes the lawsuit months later. And in 24 hours, she got $20 million. And do you know that just last week or so, she settled with that hotel where that beating took place in the video for $10 million. So, in reality, she really did get a total of $30 million. So, I rest my case. You know, I just know a victim when I see one. Just like that retarded chick that just recently accused Jay-Z and Puffy of raping her. I knew that was bullshit. That whole civil case has been dropped and done away with because she was lying. Anyway, I said all that I wanted to say in this video, and just understand, I am not a Puffy supporter. You know, he's trash. Both of them are trash, $1 million trash. And whatever happens, happens. But just stop calling Cassie a victim, because victim she is not. Peace.